Kara, thank you for that report. In Washington, D.C. tonight, President Trump says he's working on new negotiations with Russian President Vladimir Putin to end the war in Ukraine. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp is joining us live tonight. Rachel, what is the latest that you're hearing about all this? Good evening.
Good evening, Eva. So there's a lot of moving parts in this, and just a few moments ago, President Trump said that Ukraine will be involved in these negotiations, as well as some other partners alongside the U.S. and Russia. Now, this teamwork approach is something that our European allies have stressed when it comes to negotiating an end to the war. Following Russia's release of Pennsylvania teacher Mark Vogel, President Trump spoke to Russian President Vladimir Putin over the phone.
And I think we're on the way to getting peace.
Trump described the call as highly productive, adding they will begin negotiations immediately to end the nearly 3-year war in Ukraine. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky also spoke with the president over the phone following Trump's conversation with Putin. Zelensky said their conversation focused on achieving peace and working together on economic and resource partnerships. But Zelensky later added, as an independent sovereign country, any negotiations must include Ukraine at the negotiating table.
Putin wants peace, and President Zelensky wants peace, and I want peace. I just want to see people stop getting killed.
The negotiations between the U.S. and Russia have rang alarm bells for European allies, saying they all need a seat at the negotiating table. Many are worried the U.S. approach to a potential agreement with Russia could align with more of Russia's goals of how the war should end.
We want, like you, a sovereign and prosperous Ukraine. But we must start by recognizing that returning to Ukraine's pre-2014 borders is an unrealistic objective.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth also reiterated that Ukraine's NATO membership is not part of a realistic peace plan. If added as a member, it could shield Ukraine from future Russian attacks. But the secretary says the president hopes to end the war through diplomatic measures.
The bloodshed must stop, and this war must end.
Eva, Ukraine's NATO membership was supported by the previous administration, but becoming a NATO member essentially means that you are kind of protected by the whole group, because in Article 5, an attack on one is an attack on all. So if Russia does attack Ukraine and Ukraine does become a NATO member, that means all of NATO members, including the United States, would be dragged into the fight to come to Ukraine's aid. Now, one last thing, Eva, the president did also say that he plans to meet with President Putin in person, potentially somewhere in Saudi Arabia. Eva, back to you.